Well, hello again. It's now January 15th. Still unemployed. Just not a whole lot out there for me to apply to that really fits my needs, especially with the no transportation thing. Haven't done the Rock Band video yet. It's coming eventually. Making progress on putting Christmas away. Two of the trees are down. Two of the big trees anyway. Basement is now more or less back together. Gotta move a couple more things out of here because CES is really jazzing me up. Definitely saw some things that I'm interested in. SVS did their announcement where we got the Ultra Evolution towers coming. I think I found my new towers. Originally I was gonna go with the Pinnacles just because I didn't really like the way the Ultras were designed as far as like their physical abilities. They're just not really going to fit the shape of the room very well. They need a lot of space to breathe, and I don't think they'd work as well here. And I figured I'd save a little money and go for the Pinnacles, which had a lot of the same capabilities in a much more friendly form factor. But looking at the Evolution towers, I think that's where I want to go. And of course I want the big boys. I want to go with the Pinnacles, the Evolution Pinnacles. So I guess in a way I'm still going Pinnacle, but the 4 8-inch drivers per tower, that basically gives you a 16-inch subwoofer per tower. And like I've said before, I don't really have a lot of ways or room to get more subwoofer down here. So if I do 2 or 3 of those across the front stage, left, center, right, that gives me 3 16s essentially, depending on how I do the crossover. So that seems like the path I'm going to go at some point. Of course, they're $7,500 for 3 of them, $5,000 for the pair. It's going to be a minute. Especially considering my other towers that I have are probably not something anyone's really going to want to buy to try to offset the cost. I could probably get a little bit of money out of my center, because it's fine. I'm still fully capable and all that, but those towers are just, they're in too much of a rough shape. If they had their integrated subwoofers working, then maybe you could overlook the cabinet damage, especially for a significant discount or whatever, but they're old, they're not that capable. It's only got 3 drivers across the front, which in a lot of ways is fine, and they're doing pretty good in here. I just don't know that I can get much out of them. We'll see. Maybe I'll get lucky. But anyway, so all that has me pretty excited, and I came across a couple other videos, like Youthman just did a video about house curves, which I've been wanting to experiment with for a while. Speaking of, I learned something new in that video. Remember when I was saying I was pushing up the volume even past 0 and the subwoofer just seemed to kind of die off? With music especially. There's a very good probability that I have dynamic EQ turned on. And that actually does lower your bass output plus 0. Once you're above 0 reference, it actually will lower your output. So that is probably what's going on. That's probably why the bass was so anemic at the louder volumes. And it's not like we were really playing above reference necessarily. It was a music file for my phone, so those volumes are never consistent. But I was above 0 on the amp. So I think Audyssey was kind of screwing me up on that. Something to definitely check into. I'm probably going to turn that off going forward anyway once I rerun Audyssey, which brings me to this video. I'm going to rerun Audyssey. Like I said, CS has really got me kind of excited, and I've been looking at a bunch of other home video theater related content recently, and I want to get this recalibrated. I know my distances are definitely off. I know the frequency response was messed up because of the way I had that left speaker set up with the mode. It was in, I think, bipole instead of direct at the time. So I want to get this dialed in as good as I can with the current system, so I can compare it, a year or two, unless something drastically lucky happens, between now and getting my new towers. And I want to get the system I have sounding the best that it can. You know, it sounds great when I'm watching movies, but I know there's more in there that it can do. I want to get things dialed in a little bit better. So I'm gonna do some Audyssey content here in a minute. Some kind of remeasure my current situation. Because other things have changed too. I mean, furniture's moved around a little bit. There's more stuff on the ceiling. I never did a measurement in this room's final form, at least currently. It's been this way for over a year at this point. So yeah, we'll see where we're currently at. And I've never measured or done anything with the second subwoofer. So I'm also going to turn that on and finally try to get him integrated so I can get that near field bass that I want and help out the PB3000 a little bit. Because this is a big space. It does definitely struggle sometimes. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and start doing some home theater stuff because I'm home. I got the time. Wife's not here. And it's still pretty early in the day. So let's get some measurements and see where we're at. Alright, so a couple observations before we get started. First off, it's probably going to cost me a little more than $7,500 because this is as good a time as any to upgrade my surrounds. These guys are alright, you know, the first surround sound system I ever got. I think they're a 3.5-inch center mid-range, and then the tweeter when it's in the direct mode. The new Ultra line also includes a couple of new bookshelves. They got the main bookshelves, which I think are a 6.5-inch, plus the new tweeter. And then the smaller ones, I believe they said are 4.5, maybe 5.25. Either way, they're bigger. And, you know, I'm not really utilizing the bipole or dipole modes on these guys anymore. Never really did. I guess when I was first doing just the 5.1, 7.1 back in the day, I think for the rare channels. But I like the direct treble, and you only have that tweeter active when you have just the two front drivers, the side drivers being disabled. So, yeah, I think it's time to upgrade these. So that's another, you know, $1,300 a pair times 2. I don't think I'm going to go ahead and do anything with the Atmos channels. They do have Ultra Elevations now, which are a little bit bigger, a little more of a frequency response bump. But I can't actually take these down without taking at least part of the ceiling down. And I honestly don't think it's worth it. We'll just leave those as is. There's not a ton going on with the heights anyway. I'm perfectly happy crossing those over at 80 hertz or whatever down to the subs, especially if I'm adding all those 8-inch woofers. So I don't think I'm really going to suffer much by leaving the heights the way they are. Another thing I noticed is I think I might have gremlins because I just double checked the surround speaker before I saw Audyssey just to make sure, and it was set to, I think, dipole again. Set to the left, either whichever one that is. I can't see it's underneath. So it being underneath, no one can really touch it. No one is gonna bump it. So I don't know why it changed. I think my house might be haunted. I don't really know. So that's indirect. That one's indirect on the right hand side. I need to double check the back before I run these calibration settings again. I did go ahead and pop open Audyssey on the app. And I did have dynamic EQ on. I suspected as much, so I went ahead and turned that off. I also went ahead and gave myself a little bit of a bump on the lower end, just as a base to start. It's like 6 or 7 dB through like 35, 30 hertz, somewhere in there. And then it trails off to about -5, which is up from about -10 at the 20 hertz range. I also have dynamic volume off, but that was always off. And right now I'm leaving the low frequency containment off. It was also already off. So I'll leave this as my base. Run some REW measurements. The other thing I can do, which I never really did before, was look at my decay, which is a good indication of a bunch of things. I'm kind of curious where my decay's at. I did just put the soundstage in the stereo with the 2 left for a couple of reasons. I wanted to double check my center image without a center channel, and it's pretty good imaging. These towers are not bad. But I have to double check because I kept hearing a lot of stuff on my left and my right. And I thought, are the surrounds actually off? They are. It must be the bounce energy coming off the two fronts. So I had always kind of intended to treat the side walls with more than just the curtains. I do still have a whole other pack of those foam squares from the back of the room. Those black guys there, which I had intended to put at the first reflection point, but just never really kind of got to it. But there's a lot of energy coming off of these walls, which is potentially interacting with my surrounds and such. So it might be time to actually go ahead and experiment with putting up some sound cancellation there, just to kind of see. And the real-time decay will help indicate, you know, if I need to and how it's acting once I do it. But so I'm gonna go ahead and get this started. Apparently the Audyssey files are stored on the device, so I was actually going to do this on my new tablet, but I didn't see any configuration, so I will need to, I guess, save those up to a drive and then download them onto the new tablet if I want to use Audyssey there. But the battery on this other guy's fine, so I'm going to probably just use the LG for now. But yeah, good to know. Anyway, let's go ahead and get my bass measurements and see where we're at currently. I'm going to do just how it normally is with the main subwoofer up front, and then I'm going to do one with both subwoofers, just to kind of see how screwed up it is, and then I'll start tinkering. Well, this is where we're at right now. This is left plus right with just the front subwoofer. Obviously that's pretty damn hot, but you know, I don't necessarily mind. But that's probably a little excessive, so I'm going to go ahead and definitely try to smooth that out here. And then we'll add the second subwoofer, which is going to make it even worse. But yeah, I guess I need to lower the gain, which I think in the AVR I have it set to like plus or 2 or 3 dB. So let's take a look at that. And that was actually before the house curve update, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think that's partially with the house update and the dynamic EQ being turned off. And I'm definitely going to try to pay more attention this time. I'm going to try to do all my measurements at -20. So at least I have some consistency going on. But yeah, let's see if we can get this a little more in line. Just as an aside, the green line is just the left and the right in direct mode, which disables the subwoofer. And Audyssey, actually. So that's just the full frequency response to the two towers, left and right, without Audyssey doing anything and without the subwoofer. So you can see it falls off a cliff after like 100 hertz or so. Because, like I said, those towers no longer have any subwoofers. It's just the mid-range, the tweeter, and the woofer. The sub's actually disabled because the amps are dead. And they can't be passively powered. So that's a 0 sub. So all of this is the SVS. But yeah, I definitely need to drop that a little bit and see if I can get them a little closer. Well, the blue line is the SVS sub dropped down from -10 to -15. I guess I don't know if I like more bass than the average person or what, but I don't really want that any lower. I mean, I already boosted music through other apps, and yeah, that's already like kind of lower than I would kind of want. So I think we're gonna leave it there for now. Maybe I'll play a movie or two and see what that's like. But yeah, I like my bass hot, I guess. I don't know. I don't really want it all to be the same volume level. Well, here's my real-time decay. My RT60. I need to do more research to determine what this means. I've had some limited exposure, but I really don't know what's considered quote-unquote good anymore. It's been a while. I definitely think I need to do some modification because the high end's definitely, or the, excuse me, the low end's definitely sticking around, which I think is not ideal. The high end seems to be okay. Could probably improve it, but yeah, I need to do some more checking. And after a rabbit hole, it's now 10 o'clock, 10:30. Didn't really intend that. And after having to figure out how to turn the second subwoofer back on, because when I guess re-exported the Audyssey settings, it disabled the second subwoofer output. The green line is the two front speakers and both subwoofers, so the PB3000 and my Cambridge P1000. It's a dual 10. So, yep, even hotter, although it does fix a null, which is, I guess, kind of the point. But this green line is where we're going to base our start point. I'm going to go ahead and run Audyssey and see where we can go as far as smoothing this out a little. I'm only at 20 dB, negative 20, so I'm not super worried about the audio volume, even though it's a little later. And they are pretty short sweeps and not very much bass. So I should still be alright. Got about an hour and a half before the wife comes home though. That's kind of the bigger timetable right now. Also, I keep forgetting to close the curtain. I did, and then I had to open it back up to figure out about the subwoofer. So I'm going to close that, run this one more time, and then I'll run Audyssey. Ever so slightly different, but it actually does look better, especially in that like 1 to 2K range. It's a little more smooth. So yeah, that is where we're gonna go. Green line, or sorry, blue line. That's our base. Let's see what Audyssey can do. Now granted, this is with an Audyssey calc already, but I'm redoing it because I'm pretty sure it's wrong. Also, it looks like when I did upload the last Audyssey run, it did actually reset my speaker levels back to 0. So that was interesting, like the channel levels. So, but yeah, let's go ahead and run Audyssey now. It takes about like an hour. Should be able to do it. Well, we'll see if I like the results. Run an Audyssey. Had to put the subwoofer to negative 27 just to get the icon within the green range that I was looking for. And I had to turn down the gain on the other subwoofer pretty good too. But you know, that's what it wants for calibration. I can always bump it later. But yeah, I am on position 3 of 8 currently. Takes a minute when you got, you know, like 12 speakers. You know, even though they only have 2 listening positions, I'm gonna go ahead and run all 8 spots just so hopefully we get a pretty good bubble of sweet spot around the listening positions, you know, because our heads aren't always necessarily in the same spot, especially if we like recline or whatever. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do all of them, even though we only really have the 3 spots. All right, 3 down, 5 to go. One of them had a cat purring, but I'm sure that'll be fine. Well, I gotta redo that last one because I'm trying to do this as accurately as possible. And of course, you know, the AC had to kick in. So I got the fan turned off, and I'm gonna rerun position 4. One concern I have is these rear positions are awfully close to the speakers. So that might be problematic. It's also pretty close to the wall, but it says as long as you're at least 20 centimeters, you should be fine. I think it was 20 centimeters. It's only 2 feet. So that should be good. We'll just have to see. Also, I'm not entirely sure it's testing the rear subwoofer anymore. I can hear the front one, but I can't hear the rear one. It did for the first position. Not sure it's doing it for the rest of the positions. Whatever. It's doing what it's doing. Alright, 1 position left. Tim is back to purring though. I don't know. I think it's using the rear sub, but just very, very subtly. I mean, I'm probably going to boost it a decent amount anyway, so whatevs. So that might help boost it. But yeah, almost done. It's 11:08, so it should be done in time. I'm not sure I'm going to really get to test the after effects at all, or at least much. But at least it'll be rerun. I think I'm going to turn off the mid-frequency compensation, that 2K dip. Definitely going to have the dynamic EQ and all that stuff off, at least for now. And then kind of compare 1 and 2. At least you can save the measurements and kind of compare them, which is helpful. Probably going to dump this one into preset too on the amp, just so I can have them both in there. Well, we got new detection results in. So it's saying the front's 110 hertz, which is probably right, because like I said, they cross over at a higher point than they normally should, because they internally cross over to the subwoofers, which are not functioning. So they're actually losing a lot of the energy. So that's fine. Center at 40 hertz is probably good. Or probably correct. It's a good high-end center. Probably gonna bump that up to 60 though, just to let the subwoofer do a little bit more of the work. The surrounds being 60 and 80 are interesting because they're the exact same speakers. I assume the backs are at 80 because the couch is probably blocking some of it. Probably gonna leave that there. Probably gonna move this around left and right up to 80. Again, just to kind of give them a little bit of a break. The prime elevations are coming in at 90, which is interesting because they're pretty capable, but their ports are blocked, which is probably the majority of that. Plus, there's not a lot of high-end or up-top low energy, so I think we're going to leave that at 90. So yeah, I'm just going to change the center up a little to 60 and change the surround backs up a little to 80. Well, the surround sides, rather. Distances look pretty good. Front, left, center, and right are probably good. Surrounds all look pretty good. Tops are probably about right. The subwoofer, number 1, is directly underneath the center, so that's a little higher. Gonna probably fix that. And subwoofer 2, while closer than subwoofer 1, also probably not quite 9. It's pretty much in the same place as that's right surround. So I'm probably going to change that too. Although I need to double check the subwoofer hack. I don't remember if you're supposed to increase or decrease your distances. I have to double check subwoofer 101's channel. Also, the levels, I don't know about. I would think across the front stage they should be the same. Center being bumped a little, I don't mind, that's probably fine. But the left and the right probably should be the same. So I'm probably just going to set the front left to 0. Alright, so the distance hack is you're supposed to add 4 feet to your subwoofers to account for delay. It already did that for me. Both of them are about 4 feet over where they are physically located. So good job, Audyssey. You already applied the distance hack for me. Cool. Well, looking at the correction, it looks pretty good too. Definitely took care of some issues. Red and black is not my strong point, but I'll be able to see it better on the computer, and I can tell it's definitely smoothed out some things. The dip at 2K is the mid-frequency compensation. I am probably going to go ahead and turn that off once I get to that section of the program. But yeah, it definitely looks like it improved a couple of things. Now, again, this was because it was kind of screwed up from before for a few reasons. Like I said, the left speaker was in the wrong mode, and I did the measurements in the wrong order. I switched the left and the right, I believe, as far as positions 2 and 3. I think I am going to also limit the correction. Not sure where yet. I don't really want to figure out that Schrodinger frequency, so I'm probably going to go 300 or 400 hertz, somewhere in that range. And then on the subwoofer, I definitely took out a peak pretty down there. Can't really tell if that's, I don't know, 30, 40 hertz, somewhere in that ballpark maybe. So that should hopefully smooth out the response and take out some of the bloat and let me increase the volume on everything where it'll still be even though, versus some frequencies just killing the room and other frequencies not being that audible. So yeah, looks like we're on the right path. Well, the wife's home, so playtime is over, but I got the calibration uploaded the speaker preset too. I ended up leaving the mid-range compensation on because apparently it's good for the majority of speakers as far as the way the tweeter and the woofers cross over. But I did limit the correction to about 300 hertz, which I did not do on my first calibration run. Everyone pretty much said you shouldn't run Audyssey full spectrum, full bandwidth, so see what that does. I did throw about a 6.5 dB house curve down to about 25 hertz, which should be cool. Now I just have to actually play some content and see how much of these subs I need to goose, because you know, like I said, I lost about 30 dB on the one, which I don't think I'm going to enjoy, but we'll see what happens. Catch you tomorrow with some updates as far as content and how I like it. And welcome to day 2 of calibration. So the wife just went to work, and now, as my computer freaks out, probably because projector, now we're going to see what the end results of that calibration was. So first off, I'm just going to run some music, maybe a demo or two, and see what my first impressions are. Oh, GoPro. Anyway, as I was saying, we'll do the first impressions, post calibration, make sure everything still turns on and whatever, and then I'll rerun RU and get a new graph, see where we're at post cal. Alright, let's see how much bass I've lost. Well, I haven't measured it yet, but first impressions are interesting. First off, both subwoofers are definitely working. They're definitely playing nice with each other. I actually can't identify the source of the bass. It's just kind of pretty even in the room. I actually had to turn off the SVS for a second to make sure the other sub was even on, because they're both so much lower than they used to be. I couldn't really feel the cabinet resonance, but it definitely is on. And it's not boomy or bloaty like it was before, so that's good. The first observation is I definitely need to increase the bass, but it's not totally dead. I mean, considering I'm down, what, 17 dB on the SVS and a good couple on the other sub, I expected it to be a lot worse. But that's kind of one of the advantages of multi-sub, is you don't have to run either sub anywhere near as hot. The other thing I just noticed playing this one song from Sing, it kind of makes you wonder why we have surround sound sometimes, because I just have it in 7.1 output from the laptop, which with a stereo MP3 means it's just left and right, and the subwoofer. I'm not doing any kind of upmixing or anything right now. And it sounds pretty damn good. Now, to be fair, YouTube recordings, and it's only a single GoPro, granted it's a multi-mic array and all that, but this probably isn't going to translate super well, but I'm curious how it does record, but it sounds spacious. I'm hearing, surround effects, it's good echo, so I kind of wonder if we need, surround sometimes, but just for giggles, here you go.
I've climbed the highest mountains, I have run through the fields only to be with you, only to be with you, but I still haven't found what I'm looking for. But I still haven't found what I'm looking for. But I still haven't found what I'm looking for.
like I said, not bad considering we're talking only my 2 towers, which, like I said, are only going down to about 100 hertz because of the way the crossovers work and the fact that their subs are not working. And then the PB3000, which is about 13-inch sub, and then the dual 10 P1000 from Cambridge. So yeah, and then, yeah, surround sound's obviously mostly for movies. Still got to run some demos. Ignore the graph on the screen. That's the previous. I haven't rerun Roo yet. I'm gonna do that here in a minute. But yeah, 2 speakers is enough, and these towers are still pretty damn good. Do I really need to spend $7 grand on the Ultra Evolution Pinnacles? Probably not, but I still want to do it anyway. Anyway, let's do an Atmos demo here, and then I'll rerun Roo. Or maybe I'll run Roo first. I think I want to actually see where the graph is. I think I'm going to run Roo first, and then we'll switch over to some Atmos demos, since it's a different input. You know, I still haven't run the new graph yet. I just thought I'd play around with the SPL meter for a minute, because I never have. My noise floor in here is kind of loud. Now, granted, the heat's on, so the air handler's doing its thing. Wife's tumbling some rocks. Got the projector fan. We got my laptop fan. So this isn't exactly ideal. But yeah, I was surprised that was that high. And like I said, this is my usual listening volume, although granted, not. It's just usually with 2 speakers. And my subs are usually hotter. But I'm hitting about 90 with content, which is interesting. So it'll be interesting to see where that sits during like an Atmos demo or something with all the speakers going. But yeah, I was just kind of curious where my levels are at. Alright, let's get this measurement done. Huh, I almost messed up already. I forgot to change the volume back down to 20, negative 20, for the sweep. I thought it seemed kind of close. But anyway, so this is the orange is the new setup. Subs are definitely a lot more in line. They're bumped up a little bit, which is, you know, about the 6 dB house curve I gave it, so that's good. I don't know what the deal is with the dip at 100 hertz. I only have it correcting up to, I think, 350, somewhere in there. But that's interesting. It might be because it's expecting the towers to do more than they are. Again, this isn't the center or anything. We'll have to see how the center tracks. But the rest of it looks pretty similar. Might be a little smoother. I don't know. It's hard to tell. But yeah, let's see how the center tracks, see if that 100 hertz dip goes away. Center also has about a dip at about 100. I might have to go in and play with that. Could either do that through the amp or through the parametric EQ on the sub. Probably do it through the amp because then it should address both. It's a little quieter down low, which is surprising because the sub should be the same either way, and none of that energy should be coming from the towers. So that's interesting. Also, that might be part of it. Microphone got a little moved because somebody decided to join me. So, you know, it's not vertical, it's not totally where it belongs. Have to see if that makes any kind of significant difference. It actually made a little bit of a difference. Not like substantially, but I mean, we're only talking like 5 dB anyway. So really not the end of the world. Didn't make as much of a difference with the left and right. Or with the center, I mean. But yeah, I'm sure it's probably fine. It's such a narrow range anyway. But yeah, I'm gonna run a quick Atmos demo or two. See where we're at. And then I will probably bump up that bass a little bit more. Probably just to the SVS and the gain knob, just to give it a little more oomph. I don't really have any bass to integrate into the towers, because like I said, the towers aren't really doing anything under 100. But I could just bump up the curve in Audyssey too. We'll see. See how I like both. Audyssey is probably easier. Well, back up to my reference listening of -10. Hey, 97 dB in Atmos. TechnoDad escape mix. TechnoDad, excuse me. Yeah, it sounds pretty even with the bass, honestly. I'm still gonna probably bump it though. TechnoDad New Gold. It's a good song. I like the near field bass from the other seat. Could definitely tell that sub's doing something now. And they're both so quiet compared to where they used to be. Multi-sub is definitely helpful. I mean, I have a lot more headroom for these suckers. But it sounds good and tight. I like it. On my knees, TechnoDad remix. I'll probably let you down. That's enough for me. You got me begging me, baby. Looks like I'm on my knees again. Let's go by Tesla surround sound. He's got some nice panning effects. So switching back and forth between preset 1 and 2, and they're definitely different. Preset 1 has a little more low end, a little more thump, but I can fix that on 2, no problem. But 2 definitely has a better sound envelope, like a better sphere. The speakers blended better. In preset 1, the left side's definitely too loud. And the tonality between the speakers didn't seem exactly the same. Now they definitely seem to be more on the same volume level, and more the sound sounds the same regardless of which speaker it's in. So that's both very good, and that is the main point of all this. I can tweak bass and stuff like that easily enough, but so far, you know, this cooperation between the two subs is definitely helping. Now, the downside is this other sub is not in any kind of isolation. It's right on the concrete floor, right against the concrete wall. So, based on previous observations, the neighbor's probably going to notice that one. If he's complaining about the small, you know, 6 or 7, I guess 6-inch LG behind me in the gym, what's he going to think about dual 10s? So at nighttime, when we're doing late night listening, I might shut off the one sub and just have the SVS and bump that up to make up the difference. But I definitely prefer having them both. And it does move the couch a little bit more. Again, it's closer for one, and it's touching the concrete floor right next to it, so you're getting that energy transfer, which is what I like. But then, yeah, there's issues with neighbors and such, so I don't know. But so far I'm liking where we're at. I thought it was gonna completely change some things considering how much I lowered the sub. But not so much. Just a little bit of tweaking. We should be back to where I like it. Oh, that's interesting. Looking at the Marantz phone app, looks like it's doing a plus 2 dB on the center and plus 3 dB on all 4 height speakers. Even post Audyssey. That's probably something I set up at one point, and that does kind of override or go on top of the Audyssey calibration. But like I said, I mean, the center was already like half a dB or a dB hot anyway, even with Audyssey, so that's probably good. And I do like the heights being a little more potent because they get used so infrequently. It's nice actually hearing it more clearly, like when there's stuff up there like footsteps and rubble and whatever. So I think I'm going to leave that, but I think I'm going to try to bump up the bass in the Audyssey Curve editor, and then see how that goes, and then that'll probably be that. I still need to run an Atmos demo, but that's not TD though. Some Dolby Leaf or something. Oh, apparently there's still audio going. I thought I paused it. Yeah. So there's so many places to adjust this stuff. So the app says the subwoofers are 0, and the centers, I think I said 2 or 3. But in here, it's saying -3 on the front sub, -7.5 on the back sub, and the center is the 0.5 that Audyssey says. I'm pretty sure those other ones are from Audyssey too. So yeah, it's interesting. I guess I'm just gonna try to boost the sub in there a little bit and see where that gets me. Well, I might have to turn the master volume up a little bit compared to where it was, you know, so movies might be running at like -8 or -5 now. But overall, I'm happy with the balance. I bumped up the subs in the surround parameter about 3 dB each. I figure as long as they're the same, they should stay in balance with each other. You know, as long as they decrease or increase them by the same amount, more to the point. The rear sub is still about 4 dB quieter than the front sub, but it's also a lot closer, so that makes sense. So yeah, I am setting something up, and then I will show the other reason why we have home theater. Now this is how you enjoy a concert. See, there are reasons to have lasers in a home theater. Second subwoofer may help the spiders out too, because it should cancel out. Maybe they were in a null or something. I am currently at reference 0 dB. Those air cannons are brutal when they go off. It's kind of cool. Makes you feel like you're there. I don't have any air cannons. be a quiet file. Is pretty low. I will need to fill him up pretty soon. But I want to clean him out, so I don't know if I should refill him or not. Yeah, it's not that bassy and it doesn't seem that loud. Spiders definitely seem happier. Cannons are right overhead. It's awesome. Stereo file because, you know, just copied it from YouTube. So this is all up mixer. Good way to watch a movie. Well, concert. Wouldn't watch a movie like this. It is fun for shows like Masked Singer though. Just want to appreciate the spiders for a minute. I love these things. Motion strips, no spots either. Alright, it's still a little foggy, but one last thing I'll throw on the end of this video. I've never really done like a movie demo, and I know it's kind of stupid because YouTube and, you know, stereo microphones only, etc, etc, plus you're listening on a stereo device, etc, etc. But I want to do this even for myself, and I might as well record it. I'm going to do the lobby scene from Matrix, just to kind of see how the new setup sounds. This has got to be one of the greatest movie scenes of any movie, especially for surround. I'm back down to negative 9 dB. It seems plenty loud enough, but here we go.
Please remove any metallic items you're carrying, keys, loose change. Holy shit! Ugh. Back up! Stand back up!
TV.
were you doing?
So this was the first
He doesn't
time
know.
we actually had watched this down here about a week ago for the first time, and it's the scene that made me realize this late into the movie that I forgot to turn on the second amplifier, so my rear speakers and my heights weren't working because those are on a separate amp. That scene definitely made me realize it. Come on, I gotta go through the explosion.
I think they're trying to save him.
There is no spoon.
Find them and destroy them.
Yeah, I think this is a good baseline. The bass is full and even. It's probably good for most listening sessions. Now that I have preset 2 set up, I think I'm gonna go ahead and save a juiced up version to preset 1. Really crank up the bass a bit. Probably better do it through presets than through the SVS and the other sub, because the other sub has a remote control, but I can't. It's IR, so I can't get to the control unit over by the amplifier, and I won't have to go over there and move a knob every time. Because this sub is basically barely at like 25% on the level, which is kind of funny. But yeah, I think I want to juice it for certain things, so I think I'm gonna save that to preset 2. But since we're at this point in the movie, I might as well go ahead and do the helicopter scene too, and that'll probably wrap this up, because I'm sure this is pretty long at this point, especially with the 2 demos with the concert and everything. But yeah, after a year of talking about it, I finally got Audyssey recalibrated in this room's current final configuration, and I think I'm happy with it. Definitely took care of some issues. The other sub's now up and going, which is helpful for a couple of reasons. Like I said, near field bass to the couch, a little more thump, and I can definitely dial the SVS back down a little bit, which should extend its life some. And I have all this headroom to play with when I really want to go crazy. But yeah, we'll do the helicopter and then we'll get out of here for today. I got a job assessment to do here as a second stage of a resume, so wish me luck on that. Underrated movie. Classic's the best one. They get kind of weird after the first one. Anyway, I think that'll do it. Simba obviously wants to go upstairs, and I get some stuff to do today anyway. But that's been our recalibration journey through Audyssey. I think overall it did a good job. Well, as I'm watching footage, I've been editing the curve. First off, I did get the new calibrations onto the new tablet. I was able to email them to myself and then re-download them. So I can use my Google Pixel tablet now. But, yeah, so I was kind of looking at the curve. I noticed one thing. When I limited the range for the correction, just like with some of the other stuff, like the mid-range compensation and stuff, it's per group of speakers. So I did it for the front. I didn't do it for any other ones, so I didn't realize that. So the new calibration I just sent over to the amp has the limit. I was at like 300. I bumped it up to like 350 for all the groups. Front, surround, rear surround, top front, top rear. Left the sub alone because it's already at the max anyway. And then also the mid-range compensation is no longer applicable because it's at 2K. The corrections only going up to like 350 hertz, so that's essentially off now. Plus, apparently, if you have good speakers, you don't really or shouldn't really need it. And these speakers I have are pretty good. They're old, but I mean, like they image well. They have good dispersion, so I don't think they really need it. It was off with the last correction because, like I said, I was limiting to like 300 with the fronts, which so at least that one had it off, and I didn't really seem to mind. I also did a new house curve. It's back up to about 12 plus 11 plus 12 dB now, up to about 20 hertz or so. So we will see how that goes. I will test that maybe today. It's 8:47, so I could run down and do another quick file or two. We'll see. But I just wanted to update that and let you know that if you do end up modifying your curve, make sure you do it for all your speakers, or at least the ones you want. It's not automatically doing it for all of them, just the fronts. But back to reviewing footage. And yeah, I noticed the slight sync issue. I don't even think it's a full second off. Never really had an issue before. I'm not sure why all of a sudden. But the projector was doing a lot of resetting with the laptop, and so the handshake may have been a little goofed up. It's probably fine. If it continues, I'll keep an eye on it and make some adjustments, but it normally just corrects itself with the reset. But I did notice it. Anyway, that's going to officially do it for this one. It's about 9:38, so I don't think I'm going to go downstairs and do anything else with the audio tonight. Tomorrow's another day, because I have nothing but days. And then we'll double check the new calibration, the new calibration with the juiced up bass, and the adjustments to the other channels. But for now, we'll call it here. Hopefully it's been enjoyable and or educational. I mostly do these for me because I know I don't exactly have a viewership, but, you know, hey, maybe someday. Anyway, catch you later.